Job interviews aren't easy, even when you've been on more job interviews than you can count. At every job interview, there's new people. You're selling yourself and your skills, and you're getting judged about what you either know or don't know. On top of this, you've got to be enthusiastic and passionate. You've got to build rapport with the hiring team. And also, you've got to rack your brain for examples to questions you might not even know are going to be asked. And this is all with the pressure of that job that you really want to get hired for. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing interview tips to get hired at any job. But before we jump into it, please share with me what's one of the weirdest interview questions you've ever been asked in the comments down below. I'd be really keen to hear. And while we're at it, don't forget to subscribe and click the alert notification bell. That way you'll be notified when new content arrives. Let's jump into it. If you've watched some of my videos before, you'll have heard me talk about the importance of preparation, no matter what it is, like resumes, interviews, regardless. Interviews, super important to do your preparation around the organization, their website, looking at the broader industry, looking into the hiring panel and who they actually are. Check out their LinkedIn profiles. You want to understand their backgrounds. The other thing is you want to make sure you know exactly where you're going and how you're going to get there. You want to get there on time, and by that I mean 5 to 10 minutes early. And that doesn't mean 5 to 10 minutes early where you're out of breath and sweating because you're just going to have anxiety before the interview. You need to give yourself plenty of time to casually get there, be 5 to 10 minutes early at the building. Get everything ready the night before. That way you're not worrying the next day about what your hair looks like, what you're going to wear. You know what the night before, what you're going to be doing. That means that on the day of the interview, you can put all your focus into the preparation for the interview and nail it. You've got about 7 seconds to make a first impression, generally speaking. Personally, I'd say it's less in some cases. I know Richard Branson gives it around 30 seconds. However, when you're meeting the hiring manager or the interview panel for the first time, you need to be dressed professionally, a nice smile, strong handshake. If you can still do that these days with COVID, it might just be a fist bump, but it's all about making that strong first impression. The other thing is turn your cell phone off. If your cell phone goes off during the interview or even at any point during the interview, that's a rookie mistake and it's going to be hard to come back from, especially when they're interviewing other candidates of a really high caliber who have left their phones behind or whatever. They just don't, the phone just doesn't go off. From the time you're met in reception to the actual point where the interview starts, there can be that awkwardness of small talk and not knowing, from your perspective, not knowing what to say. There's pressure on, you're nervous, it feels a bit unnatural. So there's always that period where you need to make a bit of small talk in terms of, making that first impression as well. So my first tip on that is don't talk about the weather, because that's not going to separate you from the other candidates. You want to have, is there something in reception that you noticed? Has the company won awards? Is there some really nice artwork? Is there a great view that you can comment on initially? Or even from your research, is there a burning question that you want to ask them just to get straight off the bat, something that really interested you about the company? Maybe in your research around the hiring panel, you notice one of them was into mountain biking and you're into mountain biking as well. This isn't your chance to go all creepy and say, hey John Smith, I noticed on Facebook you are really into mountain biking and I'm into mountain biking too. Let's go hit it this weekend. It's more around yeah, I'm doing great, thanks. I just went out for a mountain bike this morning. It's a real big passion of mine. And cue the hiring team to one of the hiring team to start talking about mountain biking. This is a great way to start connecting with the hiring team or the interview panel straight away. The interview begins as soon as you walk in the building. So make sure you check yourself before you wreck yourself. 7% of your communication will actually come through in terms of the actual words. 38% is how you say those words, and the last 55% of your communication is from your body language and how you carry yourself and hold yourself. So you want to make sure you're on point as soon as you walk in the building. Things to remember are open posture, so you're not slouching, your arms aren't crossed, you're just making sure you're receptive to the hiring panel and the team. The other thing would be to make sure firm handshake, which we've already talked about. Even in COVID times, it might not be a handshake, so it could just be a fist bump, an elbow, or maybe they've just completely done away with handshakes. But if it comes up, just make sure it's nice and strong. Make sure you are maintaining eye contact with the panel. I've heard of situations where there can be 5 people interviewing one person. That can make it a bit tricky, but I think generally speaking, you could probably expect 2 to 3 people to be on the interview panel. So just make sure you're making eye contact with each one at times. And the last thing is smile, a nice and warm smile to make a great impression. Let's not leave out energy levels, ensuring that you're enthusiastic about the role and you're passionate for your space. If you're talking about your work and your profession in an enthusiastic and positive manner, it's going to be really hard for the hiring team not to enjoy your positivity and the conversation in general. And it's just another tick to the box of why they will like you, and it helps in terms of building rapport as well. So go all in, obviously not overboard, but in terms of enthusiasm and positivity when you're meeting the hiring team. Good answers are specific, concise, and are answered with a relevant example to the question asked. The hiring panel are going to be judging you on your ability to how well you can communicate and articulate your answer. If you're asked a question and 10 minutes later you're still answering it, that's not a good sign. And you've pretty much just talked your way straight out of the interview. When you're answering a question, you need to be thinking about it as a story with a beginning, a middle, and an end. The hiring team is looking to identify with you. You can do all the preparation you want. You can make the best first impression, have the best body language. But if you cannot clearly communicate and articulate your answers to questions that you're being asked, then you're basically going to fall flat on your face. The best thing for you to do is practice your answers. Practice them with a family member, a friend. Even better is to actually record yourself on video and watch yourself, and to be able to watch yourself answering questions and look at your mannerisms and your behaviors and how you're coming across. It might seem scary at first, setting a camera up and practicing your answers to interview questions and watching yourself, but stick with it and just notice areas where you can improve and do better. The fact is, if you're missing out on interviews, then it will largely come down to how well you communicate and articulate your answers. So you need to make sure you nail that and get it pitch perfect. Always follow up with a thank you note after your interview with the key contact person that you've been in touch with. Follow up within 24 hours. It's a great opportunity to mention anything that you forgot to add or you felt you missed out that could be beneficial towards you getting the role. It's key to leaving a lasting impression. Being prepared, making a great first impression, watching your body language, articulating your answers really well, and following up are all essential to putting in a strong interview performance. If you can master all those areas, it will be extremely difficult for the hiring panel to say thanks, but no thanks. Remember, preparation is all about making sure you understand the organization and you know the location of where you're going to be interviewing and able to turn up on time. First impressions is all about making that strong connection straight off the bat. Your body language should be nice and open and receptive, as well as showing enthusiasm and positive energy for the role. Communicate your answers clearly and concisely, and follow up within 24 hours to really smash the interview out of the park. Thanks so much for watching. I've only just recently started this channel. I'm committed to growing and developing it and producing content that people find valuable. So please support me. Please subscribe to the channel, click the alert notification bell. It would mean a lot to me. Throw some comments in if you're interested in a particular video. You're hearing from a real recruiter. If you need assistance with a resume or rewriting your resume, I have published a book. It's entitled Career Secrets. Write a resume that lands you an interview. I'll put a link down below in the description. It's on Amazon. If you want to check out more about me, head along to thecareerquest.org. If you want to share this video with others who might find it helpful, please feel free to do that. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.